we have talked about the use of AI tools in past conversations. So we've talked about that, and I am wondering if you can talk about more about what you are finding available and
Yeah.
relevant for government contractors, and think about it from early pursuit. You talk about acquisitions, so
hmm
for the early pursuit to acquisitions to performance and beyond. What are you finding that's useful, and give us some examples?
Yeah. So I haven't used a lot of the proposal writing. I haven't used any of the proposal writing tools, but right now I'm not, pursuing prime contracts. Most of my work in government contracting is on the subcontracting level right now. And again, my journey is different than others, right? But one of the things that I have seen that's been more popular out there is some of the AI proposal writing tools. Just a few names that I've heard of: Rogue AI. There's another platform called Cletus. I met the owners of that company out in DC last year. Seemed like really nice guys. And I intend to have a meeting with them and seeing maybe how we can, collaborate. I'd like to look at these tools. I really haven't had enough time to really stop and look at these tools and play around with them, because anytime we do any kind of collaboration or partnerships or trying to bring things to other people, I always want to make sure it's a good value to our students that are out there in the community. So I'm never going to sign up for something and just basically be like pushing it. It's got to be a benefit. One of the interesting things about the proposal writing thing, everybody wants to rush to the proposal writing. Everybody wants the proposal writing training. If I send out a survey right now to our community, I can guarantee you the top request would be for proposal writing training. And we do proposal writing training. But I think that there's a miss there, because the proposal writing is the last step in the formalization of you putting in an offer to an agency that's going to consider that offer. And what a lot of people miss is all of that preliminary legwork that takes place. And a lot of the savvy contractors are not just sitting back waiting for things to arrive in their email box and then they're going to bid on them. They're out there networking, they're meeting people, they're developing relationships, they're talking to their prospective customers about challenges that they might have. What are their goals? What are the gaps? What are their needs? And then they're going back and sharpening their pencil, coming up with some solutions for them, and then coming back to them with that. And so, what a lot of people don't see is that whole back end of things, where by the time something comes out in a solicitation, a lot of times, well, if it's an incumbent contract, it basically, repeats. Incumbent means there's like a cyclical contract. Some of these go for 5 years, and then another 5 years, there's going to be a competitive cycle, by the way, which incumbents typically have an advantage about 60 to 70% win rate from what I've heard and looked at and observed. So you could see coming in to try to unseat an incumbent is quite challenging. But what I'm saying is that it's for some of the new opportunities that are happening out there, maybe where there wasn't an incumbent, there's typically a conversation that is being had between two entities, the government and a business. And there's some back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then their government's like, oh, I really like what you're proposing here, but it's going to be over the $25,000. So we're going to have to take it through competition. So be ready. But guess who has the advantage at that point? The people that has been talking. Now, the government will redact some things, take some names off of stuff, but people pretty much know. And a lot of times the end users in the government are sitting on the source selection committees and they're grading these proposals. And so I think there's some kind of unspoken advantage to the work that is done before you get to the proposal phase. So what I would say is, don't think just of the proposal phase, and don't just be sold if somebody's calling you up. It's like, hey, we can submit 100 proposals a month on your behalf. Okay, well, that sounds good, but without really understanding the agency's requirement and what the compliance metrics are and preparing yourself in advance. I mean, look at you teach cybersecurity, Pam. I mean, it's like, okay, if what you sell requires, if you want to sell to the DoD and what you sell requires you to be CMMC like level 1 or level 2 certified, and all of a sudden you buy a proposal writing tool that's going to send out 100 proposals, that's not going to do you much good, because you're not going to be eligible to get that contract because you have not done any of that preliminary legwork in preparation for that opportunity. And this is another thing that we teach and talk about a lot, is really preparing for those opportunities ahead. And then once you're fully prepared, the proposal writing piece kind of becomes the last part of it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not everybody needs a whiz bang proposal AI tool to do this, if they're very strategic, because some people are taking the shotgun approach while others are taking the sniper approach. And typically the snipers hit more targets when they're really going in like that. But the things that I think of on the front end that could be better leveraged is basic tools like Chat GPT. You could pay 20, $25 a month to have a Chat GPT Teams account, which does not get trained. They don't use that data to train on models. Now, you don't want to put sensitive information in those models. That's why AI is not a push button solution. And there's a lot that goes into the thought of employing an AI system into your business. That's why you're a consultant, Pamela, that people should call you, to talk about the governance that's going to be required, the security that's going to be required, the change management, to making sure that like your employees, if you're going to buy this tool, are going to be using it.